Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to One Hub Racing for the second of 4 qualifying night lobbies tonight. It's been an absolutely boiling hot day in the United Kingdom today, and the drivers will have to face similar weather conditions tonight around the Bahrain International Circuit. 30-minute practice session to help determine what tier these drivers will be in here. They'll all be aiming, of course, for the top pinnacle tier. Might find themselves in precision, podium, or perhaps even the new prospect tier. My name is Luke, and alongside me today for this qualifying night session is Minty. Now, Minty, the drivers might find it a bit different driving in the daytime in Bahrain, because most of the time, obviously, qualifying a race is done at the night time.
Yes, I heard that many drivers were doing practice in the night, so definitely throws a spanner in the works, doing it in the daytime. So I wonder how the drivers will cope with that.
Yeah, most definitely. What that will have an effect on is tyre temperature, so they should get warmed up quicker than they would at the night time. And Bahrain, not the heaviest circuit, there are definitely worse tyre wear circuits out there. Silverstone, for one, as quite a few drivers found out last weekend. So if you're not familiar with a qualifying night, all the drivers have to do a qualifying night session. There's over 70 of the 80 are doing it tonight. Some have unfortunately unable to make tonight, so have done it before or afterwards. You have a 30-minute practice session to set your best time on the soft tyres. You must do it on the soft tyres. Of course, they are limited to the types of tyres they have, so do get used to some of the drivers starting on the mediums and going to the softs at the end. And Bahrain was a circuit that we used last year here at One Hub. One of the drivers who will be coming along tonight, Brettster, actually got pole position in the precision tier around here. The first qualifying night session has just finished, and it was J. Luke with a 1:26.442 with the fastest time. So expect to see similar sort of times from that. Maybe we might see a driver sneak into the 1:25s. We'll have to wait and see. But Bahrain, there are definitely tougher circuits on the calendar. I think the drivers will be fairly happy that Bahrain's been picked. It's not the most challenging of circuits.
It really isn't. Maybe Sector 2, that's a little bit more difficult with, I think it's turn 10, the left-hander that you have to brake downhill. That is difficult, especially on the front left tyre, because you usually lock that one up. But the rest of the circuit is quite easy. 3 DRS zones around Bahrain. So if this was a race, plenty of overtaking happening, but here tonight it will be important that you don't get into traffic, because that could easily ruin your lap time.
Yeah, most definitely making sure you get out of the way. Maybe if you could just nab a bit of a slipstream off someone else, as you mentioned, down the 3 DRS zones. You've got that incredibly long pit straight as well, about a kilometre long, coming out flat through turn 15 all the way down the pit straight into the heavy braking zone, into turn 1, other DRS zones coming out of 3 onto turn 4, and on the straight coming out of turn 10, as Minty mentioned, that tough braking zone at turn 10. Expect to see quite a few drivers getting it wrong there. Expect to see some of the drivers struggling through turn 12 and 13. Quite often you do see drivers just clipping the curb there and then ended up spinning the car around, and that could easily ruin many hot laps tonight.
It really can. Of course, oh god, I forgot what I was supposed to say.
I never know what I'm going to say to start with, if I'm being honest. Just to mention, we'll go for a few of the drivers who are here tonight. Some of these never raced in One Hub before, some of them have. Jonas had a pretty decent season. He's driving for McLaren tonight. These aren't the final teams they'll be driving with this season, as the drivers don't quite yet know which tier they are in. That will all be sorted soon before the first race starts in a couple of weeks' time. Jonas was 4th in the podium tier for the McLaren. His teammate for tonight, Compassion, was 10th. Got 43 points in precision tier, but only did 2 races, and he got a second and a first in them, so he can't really complain with that. You'd expect him to be near the top of the order tonight.
Yeah, we really can. Of course, he did a very, very good job in the races he was in last season, so I think we're going to see him up there, maybe a top 3, top 5. But of course, it's the new game, so we'll see how he does. New handling model, new cars, new everything.
Yeah, obviously quite a few differences. As we mentioned, Brett was very quick last year. He was actually the fastest out of everyone in the session, but that wasn't that was on the old game. Handling models have changed, cars have changed slightly. That was in the nighttime. Track conditions can have a big difference, so we could see quite a mixed up order tonight as we just wait for the final few to come in. We're just wondering how season 16 is going to work. It's going to be another short season at One Hub, aiming to get 3 seasons done in this game, and so far we have had the first 5 tracks announced: Netherlands, France, Belgium, Monaco and Austria. Quite a mixture of tracks there, I think it's fair to say. Monaco, probably one that a few of the drivers won't be looking forward to. A very tricky circuit.
It is the walls. Well, it's Monaco. You can't really overtake there. Of course, in real life, you can't really overtake around France also. There's a lot of runoff area there. It's basically a Monaco without the barriers, in my opinion, because it's really hard to overtake around that circuit. Yeah,
most definitely. There are quite a few tough overtaking circuits on the game and on the real life F1 2020 calendar now. I know Imola, everyone is looking forward to that coming back. I can't see that being the easiest circuit to overtake on in a modern F1 car, but it'll certainly be spectacular. Still got half the circuits to announce. Any that you'd personally like to see appear on the One Hub calendar?
Maybe I'm a big fan of Singapore, even though it doesn't create the best racing. I love driving around there. I would really want to see the qualifying around Singapore. I think that's the best part of the weekend in Singapore, the qualifying, because it's so nice seeing the cars go next to the wall, pushing the limits. So I hope that gets announced.
Yeah, definitely. We did have a good race in Singapore last year in the podium tier, where I think we saw pretty much every single type of tyre being used. Weather can play a big factor around there. They've set the weather for clear and dry tonight. That's not usually a problem in Bahrain, to be honest. I don't even think 2020 has been a crazy enough year to get the F1 2020 to start raining around the Bahrain circuit. Circuits I'd like to see appear on the calendar. I've always been a fan of the speed circuit, so I'm glad we've got Spa there, but maybe adding Monza in as well might be nice, one of the old classic F1 circuits. I'd love if Codemasters could add some of the new circuits in now, but I do appreciate that is a lot of hard work for them. We are getting ready then for the session to start. Quite a few drivers to look out for, and if you're interested to see how they are doing in this session and want to find out the laps of your favourite drivers, we have kindly, thanks to IGK Ends, as you can see there in the Mercedes today, we have kindly got use of the TAS system, not DAS. They can't pull the steering wheel backwards and forwards off the wheel stand yet to create some heat in the tyres, but the TAS system, a telemetry system kindly created by Ends. If you use !help in the YouTube chat once the session gets started, you'll get all the commands and then you can check on how your favourite drivers are doing, and it also allows us to see how the field are doing throughout the session. Hello to Gaza, who raced in the last session. Fortunately for him, I think he may have been the last driver with a 128.296, but he's a One Hub staple and always consistent, so you'd expect him to do well. We've got Sam in the session. Quick turnaround for him after his qualifying night commentary antics early on, and we do have another 2 sessions after this, one starting at 8:15 and one starting at 8:30. And if you were in this session, Minty, as a driver, how would you approach it? Would you try and go hard early on, or just wait until the end where there's probably a bit more traffic?
I would go around probably 15 minutes in, because that's in the middle, so a lot of drivers would have done their runs at the start of the session, but there won't be as much traffic. Of course, the track will rubber in as more drivers go out on it, do hot laps. So I think towards the end of the session, in the middle of it, I would go out on the track, maybe on the harder compound of tyres early on, just to get a feel for the track, especially in the daytime.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. I think that is what you will see most of the field doing. As you can see there, at the moment we've only got 4 of the 13 drivers on the soft tyres. That is currently Ivan, actually, we've gone down now. Ivan Enns and Jonas Ulbricht. We've got Brett thinking about going out on the hards. Jonas then in that McLaren, one of the first drivers to go out around here. As you mentioned turn 10 as a tricky corner. Any other important corners that you think you need to get right? That entire sector 2, really. You need to get a rhythm going, otherwise you can lose a lot of time around here.
Yeah, sector 2, especially with the S's at the start and at the end. Of course, there's a DRS zone in sector 2. It's not really a passing opportunity in the race, but because of turn 1, so if you overtake into turn 11, then the person you overtook is probably going to get past you into turn 1. But here, of course, it's basically a qualifying session. We're trying to get the fastest lap times. So, yeah, the whole sector is really important.
Yeah, we'll have to see how the drivers can do. Most of them have headed out straight away, but as I said, most are on the medium tyres. Jonas then managed to get a win towards the end of last season in the podium tier. His first victory here at One Hub. He's been around for a while. Let's see how he does then on his first hot lap of season 16 in the qualifying night here. Heading down the main straight. As I said, it's a long pit straight here, 205 miles an hour as he heads towards the heavy braking zone at turn 1, dropping down to about 40 miles an hour there. Heading through turn 2, taking it nice and easy, able to stay flat through there. And DRS open once again on the McLaren as he heads towards the braking zone at turn 4. Normally in race conditions you do see quite a lot of side-by-side action around here, but of course they'll all be trying to avoid the traffic tonight. The old endurance circuit goes off to the left, but we carry on the more normal layout through 5, 6 and 7, braking hard into the hairpin at turn 8. If you run wide through 7, it's easy to catch that curve and get spun around. Going through 9 and 10, probably the most awkward braking zone on the track, especially for those who don't use anti-lock brakes, and you can see Jonas there just snatching the front left tyre ever so slightly. DRS open once again on the McLaren as we head down this straight towards turn 11 now. Medium speed left-hander. Just shifting down slightly there to get a bit more grip on the exit. Coming now through 11 and 12. Flat through there as you'd expect on these soft tyres. Braking towards turn 13. And the 2 long straights to finish the lap. Heading down the straight, he's got a car ahead of him. That is one of the Mercedes. That will be IGK Enns, but he's far enough away that it won't disturb Jonas's lap. Braking for turn 14. You take a late apex to run wide through there and flat through 15. And Jonas heads towards the line. The first time we're going to see in this qualifying night. Pretty respectable time as well from the McLaren driver of a 1:26.949. Scorpion goes into second then. These were the next drivers to set a time, but is on the medium tyres, of course. Pretty clean lap to start with from Jonas.
It really is, of course. Scorpion, he is on the medium, so he will be off the pace of Compassion, who goes fastest right now, 26.5. 4/10 faster than Jonas, or I think I pronounced that right, Jonas. Why am I getting confused with Jonas? But the 2 McLaren drivers are on the soft tyres. The 2 fastest currently, of course. Most of the grid haven't done their times yet, so it will be interesting how they will do.
Yeah, and that is actually an incredible lap time from Compassion. 1:26.561. We've had Luke, the fastest so far tonight, in the chat saying he's looking forward to this. That is only a 10th of the fastest time from the last session, and that was set on the soft tyres. So once Compassion puts on those soft tyres, we could easily see perhaps a 1:20, well below a 1:26. Could see him getting into the 1:25. Cam K Mom must have made a mistake on his lap, whether he's just warming around, getting used to the track. It remains to be seen. See how Brettster does then. Pole position here last year in the precision tier, and he's actually invalidated his lap, so won't carry on too much further for him. We've got a few more drivers now heading into the pits, perhaps after invalidated earlier on or wanting to make a few setup changes. Obviously, understandably, you want to get everything perfect tonight because they want to be placed in the tier best suited to your ability. You don't want to be in a tier where you're miles faster than anyone else. Likewise, you don't want to be in one where you're miles slower than everyone else.
Yeah, it's very interesting because if you outperform yourself here tonight, you'll be in a probably really high tier, which you might not be fast enough, while others could sandbag, which I hope doesn't happen at all. But if they do, it might be too easy for them, which isn't very interesting, especially for the commentators and for the viewers.
Yeah, there is always that temptation to sandbag, especially when there are some prizes on the line, as Brett there going through turn 4 very nearly finds his way into the barrier. That's another lap. He'll just have to back off there. Maybe just struggling with slightly different tyre temperatures to what they used to be in. Track temperature 36 degrees, so not as warm as it perhaps could have been, but definitely, you've got to say, probably a good 5-10 degrees warmer than you would have in normal conditions. After but quite a few of the field now been out, most have done their first laps, and it is the two McLarens fastest at the moment. Ollie in third, Sam fourth, Scorpion fifth, Jimbo Manzi in the AlphaTauri sixth, Liam 1-3, who you can check his Twitch out at is Liam 1-3. He will normally Twitch his viewpoint, but isn't doing so tonight. Unsurprisingly, wants to put full concentration towards this, and I'm always a bit impressed by anyone who can manage to drive and talk at the same time. I struggle with driving or talking, never mind both.
It's very difficult. Respect to all streamers who do that, especially Liam 1-3. Unfortunately, he's not streaming tonight, so that you can see his point of view, but I'm betting he will be streaming the races in whichever tier he will land in for season 16.
Yeah, Sam, who we're on board with, is currently his teammate tonight. He'd improved on his personal best through sector 1, just dropping back in the middle sector, so perhaps heading towards the pits now. See how Brett's going. He's absolutely flown through the first sector. Very good performance at the moment by Brett. He's just drifting his way around some of these corners. You've got to say, it's not exactly the smoothest way around. It looks spectacular, there's no doubt about that. And again, he seems to have a very... I think he's gone for a Tokyo drift setup here, because he really does seem to be struggling around some of these corners. But we'll stay on board with him, see how he does. Doesn't look as though he's going all guns blazing at the moment. Perhaps just deciding to get the best setup, because he might be going for a more oversteery setup. He might find that that's fastest. He only needs to get one good lap. He probably wouldn't race with this setup because it looks very unstable, but if it gets him a fast enough lap to get into one of the higher tiers, he'll be glad he chose it.
Yeah, of course. If he feels more comfortable with it, then I think that's the most important thing. Even though there might be one best setup, so like the world record setup, but every driver has a different style. So that it's very important that you make your setup towards your style. Like if you don't like your car understeer, you're not going to be going out there with an understeery car trying to set up good lap.
Yeah, most definitely. You need everything to suit your own driving style, and necessarily what suits some of these alien fast times that we see won't necessarily suit everyone else. Who have we got then going out on a lap at the moment on the soft tyres? It is Ivan, another person who's been in one hub for a while. Season 14 he did in podium, got moved up to precision for season 15, managed to get 24 points, 14th place, sort of bottom end of mid-table. He's going faster in the first two sectors as it is his first lap. That is why if you have got the TAS system, he's showing his best at the moment. Let's see what he can do in the AlphaTauri then. Can he get into the 126ers? We've only seen the McLarens in them so far, and he can indeed. A very good lap from him, 126.545. Fastest man though, Compassion, 126.277 from the McLaren driver. Very good time, and the fastest we've seen tonight.
It's a very blistering lap, of course. Ivan really close to him, well, not really close, but 3/10. So that definitely shows that there's more time to be found on the track. With Compassion, I think, retiring, I think his time will be beaten, as track rubbers in and everything. So I think we'll see Compassion go a little bit down the order.
Yeah, I'm surprised he's retired. Obviously, track evolution is a big part of Formula 1 practice, qualifying and race sessions. I'm surprised he's retired this early because I do think he could have got into the 125s. On board with Ollie, who just goes very deep into turn 10. Not sure whether he just got slightly distracted by the Alpha Tauri of Ivan up ahead, which is a shame for him because he was looking really fast in the racing point. He'd gone purple in the first sector, so we'll have to see how his second sector time is affected. We are starting to see more and more drivers going out on the soft tyres, and again, still, it is his personal best in the middle sector. Just goes a bit deep once again, so might get himself up into the 126s here, get himself involved with the McLarens and the Alpha Tauris, as we've now seen Jimbo Manzi move up into third position. So let's see what Ollie can do with Sowell. Pink Mercedes driving around tonight, and it's a 126.997. Not the cleanest lap from him, but has moved him up ever so slightly into... Well, it's not moved him up position-wise, but it has moved him up time-wise now.
He can definitely gain more time. I think in the setup, I think he went a little bit... he put on too little down first, because he went purple in Sector 1, which is basically the sector of the two main straights, but he lost out in Sector 2 and 3, so I think he'll be checking the setup after this lap.
Yeah, I do think Brett definitely needs to check his setup, as I think when we went on board with him briefly there, he was facing the wrong direction on the pit straight. Definitely not the fastest way to go around this circuit, although we are getting 2 Bahrain Grand Prix this year, possibly, the rumours say. One might be using a different layout, so Brett maybe just doing a bit of testing for the FIA there and using a reverse layout. We'll have to wait and see. His teammate we're on board with at the moment, Kingan, currently on his personal best lap time, down with a 130.251. Kingan last season managed to finish 13th in the podium tier. He had some good races, but unfortunately for him, wasn't consistent enough to challenge towards the higher end of the championship, and it looks as though he might just be backing off actually ever so slightly on this lap, maybe deciding to head into the pits, bolt on another set of fresh tyres. Well, most of the cars now in the pit lane. Compassion, obviously the most impressive tonight, probably should have expected that. Good lap from Ivan, Jimbo and Jonas as well, obviously being in the podium tier. He might want to maybe move up into one of the higher tiers this season.
Yeah, every driver is looking to improve, and if you're in the higher tier, that basically shows that you have improved massively. These times aren't far off what we saw in the first lobby. In the first lobby, it was a 1 minute 26.4. So the drivers in the top, from second to fourth, are within 2/10 of that time. So I think a lot of drivers will be beating that fastest time that was set in lobby 1.
Yeah, I think we could see that time go at the moment. So we're on board with MMA Slash at the moment, driving the Haas, who are back to the more traditional black, white and red colours after a dalliance with Rich Energy's black and gold. On F1 2019, he's still going around on the medium tyres on a 128.337 at the moment, showing some good time. He is improving on his personal best by around half a second at the moment. He's gone green in Sector 1 and Sector 2. We've seen Scorpion go up then into 6th with a 127.660. It's going to be pretty close to see whether Slash can beat that, and that'd be a fairly respectable time on these medium tyres for the Haas driver. 127.889 in the end. Still a decent lap time from him in the Haas. A new driver here at One Hub. Always interesting to see how these new drivers get on. We are nearly halfway through the session, and Compassion's time looking very good at the moment at the top of the session. Brett now out on the soft tyres. We'll have to see whether he can find a bit more grip on these. Looks as though he's just warming up to get ready for his hot lap.
Yes, he is. I think it's going to be his second time on, not his second lap on these softs. So I'm guessing his first one went not the best for him. But also Sam, he is 6/10 off on his previous lap time. I really want to see how he does.
Sam's just invalidated coming out of turn 13 there. He was well up on his personal best. I've just seen him say actually in the One Hub chat that he doesn't find much grip. He found a lot in the first two sectors. It all just seemed to go wrong for him there. That is a shame for him. Pav going very slowly as he's the Ferrari driver. I'm not sure if he's starting a hot lap, but that's not how you want to be starting a hot lap. If that's the case, going very slowly across the line there. Liam, the other Renault, invalidated after improving in the middle sector, so it's not really gone to plan for those guys. Brett, unsurprisingly, we've seen an improvement, and that is CSGB Jimbo Manzi at the moment. He's going up as well. Maybe if he nails his final few corners, he could go fastest. At the moment, he's up on his personal best, so this should be good enough to at least beat his teammate.
I think it will be only less than 1/10 separating them two. Now coming up to the line at the edge of the last corner, what will it be? 1:26.313, around the 5 thousandths of a second behind Compassion. So very close up at the front. Very good lap time from Jimbo Mazzi, and I think it's his debut, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure though.
Yeah, I believe it is his debut here, and that's very good for him. He's fastest man so far in the session in the final sector. Compassion was the fastest that we've seen of anyone in the middle sector, and the fastest man in the first sector again. He's gone even quicker in the first sector this time around. He's Ollie, but he's backed off there. Not sure if he's made a mistake somewhere on that lap. Just getting out of the way of IGKNs, the man who brought us the TAS system. If you are interested in acquiring the TAS system, please get in touch with him. I'm sure he'll be happy to promote his fantastic work out to the rest of the world, as we have a Haas off the circuit, and that is Cam K-Mom kindly waiting for everyone to go by, and that turn 12 claims its first victim of the session.
It really does. I'm surprised that not more of the drivers have spun there yet. Of course, 18 minutes in now, 12 minutes remaining, so he will be going on their last lap times. So now everyone's putting on some brand new set of softs. Lots of people on their out laps currently. I think that's 5-6 drivers on their out lap, so I wonder how they'll do.
Yeah, we'll have to see how they do indeed. We've got Ivan coming on to his hot lap. Sam not too far behind, so we'll get a nice tow down the straight. We'll follow Cam K-Mom around. Them softs won't be in the best condition after the spin, and you can see already just probably got a bit too close to Kingan. And a lot of the drivers have been saying that on F1 2020. Dirty air definitely plays a bigger part than it has done in previous games, so you can't follow as closely in a qualifying session as you perhaps could have got away with on last year's game.
Well, yeah, it's really realistic, so well done to Codemasters for that. For adding dirty air in. It won't be the best for league racing, but it does add that realism factor into the game.
Yeah, it does definitely make it a challenge. We'll see what Kingan can do at the moment. Down in 11th on a 1:28.953. That's slower by about 7/10 of a second slower than his qualifying time last year, which was 1:28.292. So we'll see if he can get up towards that time, and it definitely looks like he's doing that. 8.5 temps up so far, coming through sector 2, and another driver who seems to be struggling through turn 13. We saw the two Renaults understeering out the exit there. He oversteered through that corner, didn't invalidate his lap, but will have lost a lot of time. Maybe these soft tyres just getting a bit cupped as you get towards the end of the lap. Let's see what he can do as he comes across the line. Still managed to gain time in that final sector. He's now up into the 1:27s with a 1:27.993. Now Sam is going very quick with Ivan just ahead of him as well. So Sam, big improvement from him. This should move him well up the order, possibly even challenging Ollie and Brett, and we've just seen Ivan go round, and Sam does challenge Ollie and Brett. He's beat them. 2-second improvement. It's just the right time to do it with 10 minutes to go. Sam moves himself up into 4th place. Did well to perhaps not get distracted by Ivan spinning around there as Jonas moves up into 3rd.
So amazing lap time from the driver here tonight, who is on the lap. MMA Slash, he is on the lap, puts him into 8th position, 1:27 flat.
Yeah, 1:27 from Slash. Decent lap time we have now seen. We'll just double check. Still, Liam and Cam K Mom need to set a time on the soft tyres. So if they are listening, now would probably be a good time to head out. Liam's in the pits, Cam K Mom on 2-lap-old soft tyres. They are not going to provide you with the performance you need, and he is down at the moment. Pav seems to be really struggling to just get a clean lap in at the moment, way down at the bottom of the order in a Ferrari. And before 2019, that wouldn't have been a common sight, but this year, unfortunately, we're used to seeing Ferraris towards the midfield and towards the bottom end. Unfortunately, Gavin saying it's a good lap from Sam, and he's definitely shown that. 126.588. I imagine he'll be pretty happy with that, as he's run out of fuel, so it's a good job he's near the pits, otherwise that could have been the end of his session.
You really could have. But now I'm going on board with Scorpion. He is coming up to the end of his lap. He was up on his time, 3/10 faster, but it is not enough to put him up a position.
Yeah, 127.342 for Scorpion, as you said, Minty. Not enough to put him up a position, but you never know. That could be the difference between being in a higher or lower tier. Imagine a lot of these drivers, they were in podium and precision last year. They'll probably be aiming for the same again. Could be harder to get into them with the new prospect bottom tier, of course. And you'll be seeing a lot of fast drivers later on. In particular, the 8:30 session is absolutely stacked with some fast drivers. We've got last year's pinnacle champion, the Pad Goat, going on at 8:30. Louis Welsh, that'll be taken over by Kieran McGinley and Matthew, or Indecisive Mac for those who were watching this last year. And the next session at 7:45 will be Austin or Badgerman and Dan Field, the 8 field. He'll be taking us through the later session later on. On board with Ollie now, as he's with 7.5 minutes to go. He seems to have nailed this first sector, just struggling through the second and the third, well, through the second sector mainly. So it looks as if he's got that racing point more set for straight line speed than pure handling performance.
It looks like it, and he goes purple in sector 1. Let's see how he goes now going into turn 10. Careful not to lock up his tyres. I'm not sure if he's using ABS or not. Now DRS wide open on the straight into turn 11. At the end of sector 2 it's going to be a little S section. Careful not to clip the curb on the inside. He does not. Now sector 2 split 4/10 up on his previous lap time. Careful not to go wide there, as we've seen a lot of drivers losing their laps because of that. Now coming up to the last turn 14. Locking off the tyres a little, so not the best for him. Now on the straight, start finish straight, third position. 1 minute 26.396, 6/10 faster than his previous lap time. A really good lap time from the racing point.
Yeah, very good time from him. Personal best in the second and third sector. Fastest of everyone through that first sector, so really got it hooked up well. So the top 3 are now faster than the fastest time from Luke in the last section, which is a 126.4. We've seen Liam move up on a 127.9. That means it is just Cam yet to set a time on the soft tyre. So we'll go on board with a Haas driver then. He's leaving it pretty late. He has got those softs on. He's got another fresh set on. Hopefully he won't spin this time around, but you should expect some sort of improvement from him. Not using all of the track through turns 2 and 3. Just taking a bit of a shorter line. That probably slows you down slightly, but obviously you're travelling less distance, so maybe putting a bit less heat into the tyres. Let's see how he looks through the first sector. 28.1. Obviously, personal best. He's going to easily beat his lap time here. He'll probably be expected to just move up to round about where IGK and Scorpion are, I imagine. If we judge from his qualifying time last year, he did do a 127.404, so a pretty respectable lap time from him. Can you see anyone beating Compassion's time? I mean, he left after just 10 minutes. He was that confident with the time, had to go off and help his parents, which, you know, fair enough, very respectful thing to do. Can you see anyone challenging that time?
With 4 minutes, nearly 5 minutes remaining, I think that the top 5, apart from Compassion, can really beat this lap time. Maybe even Sam, he could be the dark horse here getting the fastest lap. Of course, they will be on new soft tyres. They've had more laps around the circuit than Compassion, at least in this 30-minute session. So I think it's really doable to beat his lap. Of course, Jimbo Manzi, not less than a tenth separating him and Compassion, so not a lot in there.
Yeah, very close towards the top. Cam came on, talking of close, that was 1,000th off what he did in Season 15's qualifying, so he's consistent. You can definitely say that from him. Kinga now heading towards the finish line. Can he improve at all? No. 18 thousandths off his personal best so far. Sticks around in 13th. We'll have to see if he's got any more pace in his tyres, as Pav is in the wall. No damage on, just probably getting a bit too much curb coming out of turn 10. Back around, but really needs to get a clean lap in. But 5 laps old soft tyres aren't going to be setting a fast lap whatsoever. He's still got time, obviously, though, to head out and get another lap done. Who's out on a hot lap at the moment? Brett, he's invalidated. That could well be qualifying night over for him. Most of the drivers, obviously, like in a real qualifying session, are leaving it late to get the tyre when it's in the best possible condition.
Yeah, hopefully we don't see a Monza 2019 qualifying session. It was, I think, 2 drivers only making it across the finish line, because everybody was wanting to slipstream, but on this game we've heard that dirty air is a really big problem, so I don't think they'll be slipstreaming each other that much.
No, and it's pretty much, obviously, it's every man for themselves at the moment. There's going to definitely be no teamwork going on at this moment in time. Brett is gonna, it looks as though he's low in fuel. He's coming into the pits, and seeing as the game doesn't do quick pit stops, that might be pretty marginal to whether he gets out again, but he should just about have enough time. We have got quite a few guys out on their out laps now. Got Kingan coming around again. He's just on an in lap heading back towards the pits. He could be another driver. So both Williams might well have finished their qualifying night. We'll have to see if they go out again. Pav is now kindly destroying the Pirelli hoardings, and I'm sure Toto Wolff wanted to do that for what happened to both of his drivers in the British Grand Prix, and he's just trying to get back onto the circuit. Is Pav really not enjoying himself at this moment in time? And it is a good job Sam was ghosted there as he was coming back out. Sam on his out lap at the moment. Unless you're heading onto your out lap roundabout now, you are going to struggle to get the laps done in time, as Liam heads towards now to start his lap. 1:27.934 so far. And this is really where you start feeling the pressure in a qualifying session in the final minute. You know now there's no more second chances. You have got to nail every apex to get the best possible lap time now.
Yeah, of course, the pressure. You know that it's not only you on the track. The rest of the drivers are also trying to set the best lap time on the grid, so it's really a free-for-all at the end.
Yeah, he's doing well at the moment. Is Liam up on his personal best? That's the fastest he's done in Sector 1 then. So if he carries that on, he might be able to improve and get ahead of the Mercedes of IGKNs, who's 1:27.668 is on 1 lap old soft tyres. So whether they're good enough at the moment. Liam here just getting a slight slipstream. Everyone is out on circuit either on a fast lap or an out lap, and I'm trying to just judge on the map where some of the cars are. I think they should all be fine. Cam K-Mom's obviously trying to speed round at the moment. It's probably just holding Liam up ever so slightly here. Gets out of the way. Liam still up slightly on his overall lap time, but not the fastest time in the middle sector for him. So it's going to have to be a mighty last couple of corners if we are to see Liam, who will be sponsoring the trophies for the one-hub drivers this season. He comes across the line and it is an improvement in time then. 1:27.720. Cam K-Mom just making it across the finish line in time. Checkered flag is out. Pav won't be able to improve. And we'll see then if Brett can improve. And no, he's invalidated his lap and he's around again. 1:26.524 in the end for Brett. I think he'll be fairly happy with tonight's performance with that time.
He probably will, but as you were commentating, it was Ivan going fastest, and now Slash nearly getting it at 25s.
So close we saw that.
Really fast lap times here tonight. I wonder if anybody will beat Slash. I mean, Jimbo Mancy could. Anyone could.
I mean, Jonas, he was Jonas was personal best in the middle sector, but couldn't improve too much. Who else is improving at the moment? Scorpion, personal best in the first and second sectors, but I don't expect to see him gaining off at the moment. Jimbo has improved as well, but we'll just follow Scorpion round now in the Red Bull before we go back to the junior cars, getting it right round the final corner. Is this going to be enough to bridge what is a huge gap to Sam of 8/10 of a second? I don't think it will be, but he has managed to improve. Can Jimbo move up into the 125s? No, he cannot, but just ahead of the other Alpha Tauri, so 126.167. Very good lap from him. It's just Cam Kamon now coming towards the line. 10th place with a 127.379. That is it then for this qualifying night session. It is Slash and Jimbo Manzi, two drivers who weren't at one hub last year, definitely showing they've got the pace to cope with some of the rest in this league. Fastest drivers so far on the night.
Yeah, very good performance on them, especially on technically their debut. I know it's just a 3-minute session to decide where they will land, in what tier they will land, but the pressure was on them and they have performed.
Yeah, definitely performed. So there we go. Slash, fastest person in this session. We didn't quite see a 125, but they weren't far off it. Slash in the Hassan, a 126.076. Fastest driver of the night. Slash, Jimbo, Ivan, Compassion, Ollie, and I believe Jonas as well. All faster than what we saw Luke manage in the session earlier on. Brett and Sam also managed to get into the 126s. Scorpion with a 127.054 was 9th in that session. Cam came on, saw him have a couple of spins. He was 10th. IGKN's very respectable job in 11th. Liam with a 127.720. Kingan 13th with a 127.993. And it's fair to say, I think, looking by that lap time, Pav, either he was in a Formula 3 car or he just didn't manage to get a clean lap, unfortunately for him, with a 153.275. That time from Slash really came from nowhere. He wasn't in the top 3 or 4 right until the end of that session, but that's the best time to do it.
It really is. He was the dark horse in that session. It came out of nowhere. He was, I think, in 7th or 6th place, and right at the end he went on to grab the fastest lap time.
Yeah, so as you can see there, the qualifying sessions appearing on the game, but maybe the drivers will just drive around anyway because they want to have a bit of fun and want to have a bit of enjoyment in more traditional Bahrain conditions. Who knows? Now that qualifying night is done for these drivers, they don't have to wait long before the tiers get announced. That will be on the 9th of August, so this Sunday. That is when the team contracts open as well. Team contracts will be released for half the drivers the following Friday, so the 14th, where negotiations will begin, and then the season starts on the 21st of August around the brand new Zandvoort circuit. Thank you so much, Minty, for joining me tonight for your debut in the One Hub commentary box, and we definitely saw some great times to welcome you to the league.
Yeah, it was really great. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, glad you enjoyed it. I hope all you guys watching enjoyed it as well. If you want some more qualifying night action, shouldn't be too long before the next stream starts for 7:45 stream with Austin and Dan, and then at 8:30 it will be Kieran and Matthew taking you through the final session. We also need to remember to thank our sponsors. One who was in the session, Liam13. Make sure to check out his Twitch channel, Liam13, for that regular streamer of F1 2020 and other games as well. Also check out our sponsors, Next Level Racing. Traditionally gave away wheel stands for the winners. This time they're going to give a wheel stand to the winner of the new Going Gets Tough award, rewarding some of the more feistier drivers perhaps in the midfield. Thank you all as well so much for watching. Hopefully I'll get a chance to see you soon. Make sure to check out the qualifying night streams, and don't forget to check out the channel next week to see what tiers and what teams the drivers will be driving for. But for myself and Minty, have a very good evening.